was my cue.
Go ahead.
Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi alayhim salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. It is a rahmah, a mercy, and a blessing to be here. Alhamdulillah. A lot of times we take our life for granted, and we figure that when we go to bed, we're going to wake up. Even Muslims, we do this. It's a human factor. Today's khutbah is entitled The Two Fears. The khutbah is actually based upon the 42nd sermon of Imam Ali alayhi salam. I'm going to read it, inshallah, in its entirety. Fi Lughat al-Arabiya, then I'm going to give the translation, and then I'm going to give the spiel. Anything that I say that is incorrect, that is unsound, it is based solely upon my ignorance and my weakness and lack of understanding, and I ask Allah to forgive me for that. And anything that I say that is sound, that guides, that is based upon al-haq, truly it is from Allah. And I thank and I praise Allah for that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أيها الناس إن أخوف ما أخاف عليكم اثنان اتباع الهوى وطول الأمر. فأما اتباع الهوى فيصد عن الحق، وأما طول الأمر فينسي الآخرة. That is to say, O ye people, what I fear most about you are two things: acting according to desires and extending of hopes. As regards acting according to desires, this prevents from truth. And as regards extending of hope, it makes one forget the next world. ألا وإن الدنيا قد ولت حداء فلم يبقى منها إلا سبابة كسبابة النائس طباها وسبها. ألا وإن الآخرة قد أقبلت ولكل منهما بنون فكونوا من أبناء الآخرة ولا تكونوا من أبناء الدنيا، فإن كل ولد سيلحق بأمه يوم القيامة. سبحان الله. يوم القيامة، وإن اليوم عمل ولا حساب وغدا حساب ولا عمل. That is to say, you should know this world is moving rapidly, and nothing has remained out of it except last particles or remnants of particles, like the dregs of a vessel which has been emptied by someone. beware. The next world is advancing, and either of them have sons, that is, followers. You should become sons of the next world and not become sons of this world. Because on the day of judgment, every son will cling to his mother. Today is the day of action. I'll repeat that. Today is the day of action. And there is no reckoning while tomorrow is the day of reckoning. But there would be no opportunity for action. And there is a note by As-Sayyid Al-Rati, Rahimahullah alayhi. Al-Hadda'a means rapid, but some people have read it as Jazza'a. According to this version, the meaning would be that the cycle of war and enjoyments would end soon. Following of desires. The actual Arabic word is al-hawa. We know in the common language, desire is neither good or bad, because you can have a desire for something that's good. You can desire to feed your family. You can desire to work. You can desire to feed the needy. So you can desire to do many things good, or you can desire things that are bad. So desire in and of itself is neither good nor bad. But al-hawa, that which specifically is being spoken on by the Imam alayhi salam, is the wrongful desires. The wrongful desires. If you are married and you have a wife and you desire another woman, there is a way to fulfill that desire and fulfill Allah's law. The deen is easy. The people make it difficult. So if you want another wife, you let your wife know that you want another wife, and you marry another wife, and you treat her the same way you treat your first wife, and you carry out your duty to Allah. And so that is a good desire that ended in a good way. But if you desire this woman, you do not tell your wife, and you go somewhere else secretly with her, then you have committed a grave sin. And your desire is an example of the desire that prevents you from truth. Remember, the deen is easy, but the people make it difficult. I say it all the time. I love it. I say it until I reach Allah, inshallah, because it's a simple saying, but it's one of the most important, impactful sayings among the Muslims. Because a lot of the times that we do things and we act upon the desires that we have, we're forgetting that Allah has made a makhraj for us. Allah has given us a way to carry out all of our good desires. And the desires that are bad, we need to leave them off anyway, because it guides us away from truth. Lengthening of hope. When people think of hope, usually, at least in my mind, there's a positive idea, right? We're hoping for, when I was in prison, that was my biggest hope. Other than meeting Allah, I hoped for freedom. It was powerful. It wasn't a regular hope. It was a hope that motivated me, right? So I would get up in the morning, and even when I felt depressed, and I went through depression in prison. Yeah. I was depressed. My faith was at risk. All the time. All the time. Because Shaitan, with the waswas, he whispers in your ear. You never get out. And there was a time I thought I wouldn't get out. And at that time, Hassan would come upon me. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La hazm, right? Do not become depressed. There's other translations, but depressed, losing all hope. Do not become that person. But there are times when we are overwhelmed by the vicissitudes of life. We're wondering, when are we going to get a job? I got 2 children. I lost my job. I got a wife. I can't feed them. And so now I got to ask, and my pride, it prevents me from asking. And so we have all of these different layers of problems, emotional, psychological, mental, and these triggers that are based upon the trauma that we've experienced in our past. Those who have been poor and hungry, you don't want to do it again, and you don't want your children to do it. And so what happens is you begin to lose hope. But I want to tell you, brothers, when I was in the darkest place that I was in when I was in prison, I definitely wanted to leave the dunya. I did. There was a time, a lot of brothers won't admit this, but I assure you that the contemplation of suicide and death and leaving the dunya is rampant in prison. Brothers just don't talk about it. But it's the conditions that breed this. And so what many men do who don't want to go that route, they pick up different types of hope. They hope to be the shot caller on the yard because that it takes away that despair. I'm the shot caller. Yeah. So brothers begin to plot. They begin to recruit homeboys. Yeah, brother, I want to do this. I want to do that. We need to do this. We need to stab this person. We need to get this cat out the way. This is a reality in prison. And it feeds a false hope to become the man in prison. And out here, the same danger exists. At root, it's the same. The desire, the hope is different. But if your hope is not a hope connected to returning to Allah, fisabilillah, then that is a false hope. It is a cheap hope. It is a hope that's not lasting. And we have the responsibility as Muslims to define the correct hope, to understand the correct way to hope. And we have to understand that if we lengthen hope into falsehood, into false ideas, and into false beliefs, and into false concepts, then we have lost, we have become among the losers, the khasirun. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, you should know this world is moving rapidly, and nothing has remained out of it except the remnants of particles like the dregs of vessels which have been emptied by someone. Be aware, the next world is advancing. And he says, you should become the sons of the next world and not become the sons of this world. Now I want to say this. The Muslim, the true Muslims, and especially among those who practice Islam original, the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. We understand that though there is akhirah, and we seek akhirah, and inshallah Allah will bless us with akhirah, we live here and now. And while we're here in this dunya, we have responsibilities. Every believer has a right against the other believer. And even the non-believers have rights against the Muslims, and vice versa. And in order for us to carry out our duty, we have to understand those rights. We have to understand those duties. And we have to understand that when we don't, that there is a consequence.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
There's a mashhur hadith. And that hadith states that you do not truly believe until you want for your brother that which you want for yourself. I think about this hadith a lot, and I've thought about it a lot. We've had discussions about this hadith. It's very simple. Very few words involved this hadith. I think probably no more than 10 or 15 words, give or take. But if just a portion of Allah's ummah were to adopt this hadith and put it in practice, you would change the world. That's how heavy it is. Think about it. Anybody in this room wants good for himself and for herself. If you're hungry, you want to be fed. If you're doing bad, you want to do good. If you're broke, you want money. All the things that you can think of, just simple things. I'm not going into irfun. That's not my science. I dabble in it a little bit. The law gives me a little. I am talking about the most basic things because you have to begin with the basics. You got to crawl before you walk. You cannot get an iota of real understanding or thought or tasting of irfan if you do not know how to practice loving for your brother and your sister that which you love for yourself. So you have the high and the low. You have the simple and the complex. And they're joined into here. And you have to understand that. So every Muslim in this city, we have a job to do. One of the things that when I first got out, and actually before I got out of prison, is that the Muslims were like this. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But it made me think about the idea of familiarity. If we are a Shia in particular, and we are a so-called minority among the Muslims, and we have no familiarity, meaning we don't really know each other. I don't care how many times a brother says he's a Muslim and you see him with his Muslim garb on or Islamic attire. If you don't know that person, you're not going to fight and strive and hustle and do everything in your power to help that person the way you would help someone that you've known for 20 years. That's a human factor. I'm not going to lie to you. I can only tell the truth if I see it and know it. And so what I'm saying to you, brothers, is we have to come together and we have to do more than just talk. The brother Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, who was one of my first teachers as a Muslim, when I was a Maliki Sunni brother. The brother, he's the one who served me the deen in YA. He would come up there, the WD brothers would come up there, the Nation of Islam brothers would come up there. I'm crippin', my partner, he's a blood. This other brother, he's from the Bay Area, and we thugs. We just want something to hold on to, right? And Muhammad Abdullah would come in there with the amama, with the jalba, and the brothers, and they would come with the book. The first time I heard of Imam Khomeini was when a Sunni brother, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, he came with the book called Islam and Revolution and had the picture of the Imam, Rahimahullah. I was like, man, who was that dude, man? And then the brother started, he was banging on the pillar and speaking fire and brimstone. We looking at each other, oh yeah, we like this. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this story up is, we filled that chapel every week that he came. And the reason why we filled that chapel is because he filled us with a message that we related to. It was a powerful message. He would give us the understanding that we were all powerful men who had just lost our way. He would give us the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has love for all of humankind. And it is humankind who carries out acts that causes Allah to lead him astray. And so I understood back then that we are the ones who are in control of the direction of our lives, inshallah, if we but understand and adhere. Imam Ali alayhi salam goes on to say, and I'm going to end with this. Technology. Today is the day of action. And there is no reckoning while tomorrow is the day of reckoning, but there will be no action. Basically, brothers, we have to understand now is the time for action. Because when the Akhirah arrives, there is not going to be any time for action. You can't, when the angels come to snatch or to draw out your soul, you can't come back and say, oh man, I want to get it, let me go back and get it right again. Let me go do that deed that I thought about doing that I never did. Let me go take care of my wife who I used to abuse and not feed and not take care of. Let me go get the son or the daughter that lived in the other state that I had action at visiting and taking and giving the deed. It'll be too late. Let me go and do the prayers that I abandoned for a year, for a month, or for 3 days. Let me go back and get them. It'll be too late. This is why Imam Ali alayhi salam said, now is the time for action. We have to understand that Allah gave us the best gift that humankind could ever have. And that is to be Muslim. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. But how many of us really believe that? Think about it. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that the lengthening of hopes causes one to forget the akhirah. We're to live in this dunya and to do our duty in this dunya and to carry out every responsibility in this dunya scientifically, seriously. But we are to do it in a way where we understand we're doing it fi sabilillah and to return to Allah as believers. You can't have one without the other and be a Shia to Ali, alayhi salam. You can't do it and be a Muslim. And a Muslim is the lowest level. I learned from one of my sheikhs, he blew my mind when he first told me. I was young, I was trying to get to deen. He told us he came to Salinas Valley. He was a Shia brother, Shia sheikh. He passed away. Inshallah, may Allah have mercy upon him and grant him Jannah. His name was Sheikh Ahmed. And the brother said, every hypocrite is a Muslim. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, in order to be a hypocrite, you have to be a Muslim first. And then I thought about the hadith, where it says that there are people who their deen only goes to the collarbone. They say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And they put on the kufi, and they walk the walk. But their faith, it doesn't go below the collarbone. The Arabs, their language, beautiful, and what they're really saying is it doesn't reach the heart. So he's Muslim, and Imam Ali alayhi salam. Where's the brother? I need the brother. So you brothers know, it's a brother that I invited here. He's calling because he's trying to find a way to get here. And he's actually a very important person in this community. And I definitely want him to get here. So please forgive me. To be a hypocrite, you first have to become Muslim. It's a concept that throw you off at first, especially if you're young in the deen, like what. But you have to understand that Imam Ali alayhi salam says that the saying of the shahada, it protects the neck. That's all it does. It protects the neck. Meaning that in Islamic law, once you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, by law you become Muslim and you have rights and you are protected. Your neck is protected. Your blood is sacred. But you do not become mu'min. Saying that does not make you mu'min. Your action makes you mu'min. Your iman makes you mu'min. And when your iman is sound, your action is sound. You can't believe in the hereafter and everything that you're doing, it's telling you and it's telling your brothers, it's telling your sisters that you don't believe. If Allah says that He will punish you for A, B, or C, and you say you believe in the Akhirah, but you're doing everything that He told you not to do you really believe? If a car was coming head on to hit you, and you saw it coming, you believed that it was coming, and the brother came to grab you and said, get out the way before the car comes, what are you going to do? You're going to get out the way. But you're not going to get out the way just because he said it. You see the danger. The danger is imminent, and you are aware of it, and you know it, and you believe it, and therefore you act accordingly. This is why you can be a Muslim and a hypocrite. Because Allah says it's not enough to say that you believe and that you will not be tested. I am a sinner, I am weak, and I'm a Muslim striving to be a mu'min. And I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making me a Muslim and for keeping me. I don't care if I'm the weakest Muslim, at least I have not abandoned the rope. And I'm striving every day to get a better grip on it. And how do you get a better grip on it? You have to adhere to what Allah has decreed. It's not enough to say that you believe. The Muslims in this city need to get it together, and the Shia Muslims in particular need to get it together. We need to come together, and we need to follow our leaders. We need to understand what they have laid down for us, and we need to fill this masjid. This masjid should be filled all the way to that wall. And it shouldn't be just 2 or 3 Muslims in the back. It should be such that we have to knock that wall down and build out to that parking lot. But it can only happen when the Muslims do what they're supposed to do. One of my brothers, some of you brothers know him, he used to always say, hey bro, truth is proof. Truth is proof. And there's a lot of ways you can take that. But what I understand by truth is proof is that when you do what Allah has decreed, when you carry out the instructions, and you understand that the deen is easy. The deen is easy. Allah has not put on the burden to any Muslim or any human being that they cannot bear. But you got to believe it. You have to believe it. When you enter the Quran, when you read the Quran, you can't just read the Quran as an obligation. Oh man, I got to get my jewels in. Let me go. And I start reading, and then I close it. Oh, I got my jewels in. I'm good. That's not how that works. It's better to read 50 ayat, 25 ayat, with understanding and sincerity, sidqa, than it is to read a whole juz that you rust and don't even understand and have no intention of adhering to. The beauty of this deen, and especially for me, I'm going to personalize it a little bit, and hopefully brothers and sisters can get something out of this. There's some brothers in here right on the Musala that was in prison with me. I can speak for them because I know them so well. If we were not Muslims in Sijin, in that prison, it's very likely that we would be heading on towards hell. But Allah answered every prayer. When I first went to prison, I gangbanged for a year before I went back and took my shahada again by the mercy and grace of Allah. In San Quentin, in Folsom Prison. And every year that I was in these prisons, there was danger. Every day there was danger. There were people trying to kill Muslims. I have this scar on my neck is from the battle. You had forces in prison that tried to take my life because we were pushing what they called a Muslim line, where they tried to tell the brother Ajayna Yero he couldn't pray on the yard. This is the forces we were dealing with. But guess what? I asked Allah to protect me. I asked Allah to give me sustenance. I did, the brother Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah used to write me and he would say, brother, do istikhara when you have doubt. Do istikhara. The brother said, brother, get up for tahajjud. Tahajjud will save your life. I didn't really understand it then, but I got up for tahajjud. And we had beautiful brothers like Brother Hamza, who I had a call from last week. She should be getting out soon. He was known 3 o'clock in the morning, you in the bed sleep. If you was his celly, get up. He's known for this. Everybody knew it. Trial prison. Get up. Oh, brother, get up or we fight. That was extreme. We learned later that that's not the way you were supposed to do it. But this was the sincerity, is what I'm getting at. And because we were ignorant, we didn't have the ulama. We had the books. That was basically, we had books, tapes, and then later CDs, and we studied. We studied as hard as we could. Some brothers learned half of the Quran. Some brothers learned like at least 200 or 300 hadith, and brothers were masters at history and could teach everything, you know. And we still had missing links, but we were sincere. And it reminds me of Malik Shabazz. He says, I am not a scholar, but I believe in scholarship. He said, I'm not a prophet, but I believe in divine prophecy. He said, what I am is sincere, and my sincerity is my credential. Be sincere, brothers and sisters. Be sincere, and Allah will bless you. Be sincere, and Allah will bless you. Allah will protect you from every enemy. He will protect you from every foe. He will fulfill every need. And He will give you what you need most. But you have to be sincere. And sincerity is not something that comes out of the mouth. It comes in action. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, action is today. We have to carry out action today, because when it's time for Yawmul Qiyamah, there will be no more time for action. So the things that you know you should be doing, do it now. Don't wait. And I leave you brothers with that message. Anything that I've said that is incorrect, that misguided, truly is from me, and I seek Allah's forgiveness for it. And anything that I say that guides, we thank and praise Allah. Alhamdulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.